So, do you have any specific questions for me today? I'd be glad to
I
answer anything you have.
do. Before with the question, just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me, and it's just a fun chat today, just to get to know about yourself and the
Okay,
great cause of your facility. So just to formally introduce, I'm Christina. We were corresponding through emails back and forth.
gotcha.
And just to start for our viewers, if you'd like to formally introduce yourself
Okay, sure. I'm so
and
sorry.
where you're based.
My name's Diana Sandlin, and I am the owner founder of Second Chance KV Rescue here in San Antonio, Texas, USA. As far as, I don't know if you want any background on myself,
Yeah, sure.
I am not young. I
Oh,
have
don't say
grown
that.
children. I have grown children that are 19 and 28, and I have always been an animal. I was one of those weird animal kids who didn't play with dolls and stuff. I had full habitats and raised butterflies. I mean, I was
Oh,
one of those
wow.
kids. From the time I was very small, we always had animals. We always had pets. I did raise guinea pigs when I was 10. Now that I'm older and my kids are grown, I have time, more or
Mhm.
less. This is what I do full time. I do not have a full time job. This
Wow,
is
that's so
all.
impressive though that you dedicate so much time just around the clock.
It's yeah, and when they're in your home, it's pretty much 24/7, which is why this year we were in a facility, a separate facility, public, for 2018 and 19, and then in February of 2020 last year. This was before COVID
Yeah.
kicked in. Our landlord decided that they needed our building because we were part of a wildlife rescue complex. And so they needed the building. So they decided not to renew our lease.
Oh, okay.
We had to move out. It had nothing to do with COVID. It had nothing to do with us. It just was situations. So we did have the opportunity to have a space, and that was amazing. We could house as many as 120 guinea pigs. We also do
Wow.
a little bit of other stuff, including rabbits, hamsters, gerbils,
Oh,
hedgehogs,
brilliant. So you
chickens,
do like all
sometimes
those small pets.
small, yeah, little small amount. And that's all the space that we have, especially now. But
Yeah.
back then, we were able to have people, the public, walk in on a Saturday, walk in, sit down on a comfortable couch, and just handle piggies and ask questions. And that
Sounds
is
like
the
my day.
ultimate. That is the best way to do it. We had so much volunteers. We had so much community because they could walk in and they could see what our expenses look like.
Of
Because we are
course.
in Texas, which is very hot,
Mhm.
probably 9 months of the year, the AC bills were very high. So
Oh,
we
yes.
very generous, but now that we've cocooned back down to being back in my house, we are looking at hopefully getting a facility this year. We really need to. I need this out of my house. I need my house back.
Yeah. They
We
they
are
take up the whole house,
okay.
I imagine.
It's pretty much a barn.
Yeah.
Okay, and my family and I were also being able to separate yourself when you're doing
Yeah.
rescue. Rescue is so intensive and
Mhm.
emotionally draining sometimes that you really need to be able to separate your personal life from your rescue life. So that's just part of being a rescue. Sometimes I think people think rescue is some resort for guinea pigs or something. When
Mhm.
they contact me, it's like, oh, okay, this is not, I am not your first choice. I am your last resort. COVID changed everything. Last year, I just looked at my numbers and we adopted out 232 guinea pigs last year. I think a lot of it had to do with what shifted with the community with COVID. People
Yeah.
were home. Everybody was quarantined. We adopted out 40 guinea pigs in 1 month. I had to figure out a way to do it in a safe, respectful way with
Yeah.
COVID, and that took a little bit of doing. But when you have all these adoption applications flying in, you have all these piggies, you figure
Mhm.
out a way. It's kind of works. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was a long thing about me. Go ahead and ask
No,
your questions.
no,
Go
it's
ahead.
brilliant. I just find it so interesting, and especially the point you touched upon about COVID. Like, it's the same here in the UK, unfortunately, because of, like you said, people are home because of the circumstances, and, families, are able to spend that time together. And as nice as it is for people to want to rescue a guinea pig, or get a guinea pig, it's sad that when circumstances change,
Yes.
Some people sadly regret it. And, that's why it's so important. That's why we're doing this today and for each month. Just because we want to raise the awareness that guinea pigs are not just like, just as rabbits aren't for Easter, guinea pigs are, a long-term commitment. And so many guinea pigs coming back to the rescues. And it's just overwhelming, as it probably is for you guys and a lot of rescues in the USA as well.
Yeah, that's something. What's really interesting right now is we had all those adoptions, and I just took a look. Now this year everything is shifting. We have vaccine, people are getting out, people are doing vacations. Even though some of the people have had permanent changes in their life as far as job and housing, they're
Yeah.
adapting to it. And so they are home. So those people are adopting, but the adoptions are way down this year because of the reasons for the ones last year no longer exist. So what is interesting about rescue is it's a cycle, and you have to be able to adapt what's going on. But then again, we're also getting a lot of surrenders from people who have had major life changes, that have had major stuff happening here, people that have lost their homes, that are living in a camper, and she's got 8 guinea pigs. Okay. So this is where my large numbers come from. Or people are overbreeding and they're dumping them out. I had to go actually catch and rescue 19 that somebody had dumped out. 12 of them were babies under the age of. So, I mean, we still have those situations, but then we have the change of situations where people, maybe the families have to move in together and someone's got allergies. I mean, these are all very valid. So we do try to do the best we can under the circumstances. But what that has done for us this year is it's made us extremely overpopulated right now. So those kind of things happen, and we try to be open to that. I have here in Texas, the Austin Rescue, that was a guinea pig rescue for many, many, many years, closed down and became a sanctuary because of COVID. So you have those things happening on top of all this, which increases our load to handle all of South, to do stuff. And now we're foster based. So there's this constriction that's happening, which makes it kind of difficult for me to help. I try to make sure that if people are desperate, I mean, we've gotten this year so far, we've gotten piggies that were put in a box and thrown in a dumpster. I mean, all those things. Those things are a constant, and that's what rescue is supposed to be for. It's not for the rehoming of something that you gave to your child last Christmas and they no longer play with it.
Of course.
We're not saying no.
Yeah. The situation, it doesn't help.
It's all in the, and rescue, in my mind, is here for those situations. Where people dump them out. And people have nowhere to go. People have no choices. But you also have to learn, and over 9 years, I've developed diplomacy, and I developed a real sense of, okay, how soon can I adopt these piggies out? If they are really, really healthy, and I have a lot of adoption applications, and I've got a lot of people waiting for nice piggies and their first-time owners, I have to make judgments.
Yeah, especially when your capacity is so limited, it's difficult to make those decisions.
People don't realize it's like, well, if I put one more cage in here, it's going to be on my bed. Okay, you don't understand. And sometimes when people are talking about, it's too much work. Okay, one guinea pig is too much work. I have no sympathy for you. Okay, and what I've started doing is I learned to adapt. I'm very good at adapting, and that's why I've been able to do this for 9 years. The couple things that I do that keep things moving is I focus on the good. Period.
Yep, that's
I can get real jaded. I can get real critical and cynical and just, and I have to let go of all that. And then when I see the faces of those kids and those families who are doing something this for the first time, it's just an amazing connection between an animal and humans, how that can change everything. It changes everything if it's done in the right way.
Yeah.
We provide CNC cages with our adoptions. I build them. I try to provide as much as possible. We do Zoom calls for education, all sorts of situations. Education is essential. I
Yep.
live in a fairly large city, but still, and the mentality of people here in the States is, I don't know if it's different than there, but they don't have a high regard for life, for pets. Sometimes some people do not.
Yeah, it's such a sad thing, you know, especially when you dedicate your whole life to taking care of these animals, especially since they don't have the advocates out there that need,
Right.
you know, to care for them.
Right.
You know, I can understand why you would feel, you know, some resentment to some people and get upset because, you know, as you're trying to educate, it's so difficult to ensure everyone is educated.
But I have learned over time, I can be rude. So what I have learned over time is that does not adopt guinea pigs. That does not create a positive result. And over time, I've learned and evolved how I handle stuff. I had someone email me yesterday wanting to get a surprise guinea pig gift for their daughter's birthday coming up next month. What I have learned is I have a certain way of handling that now. Because if I don't work with this,
Yep.
there's going to be no education, and they're going to just run to a pet store and get one. And then that becomes another cog in that wheel of unwanted piggies. Okay. So, or maybe sick or bad experiences that a lot of people get here in the States where the babies croak or they have to go to the vets. You know what I mean? It's a negative experience. So what I have learned is I have a way of very carefully wording, because I'm doing a lot of email, and try to share with them what we have found that works better long term. You need to do, and that will create a positive experience for everybody, including the animals. Because I used to adopt out in Midwest cages, pairs, years ago. No more. I'm really anal. It has to be specific size. You can use any kind of bedding. I share with them a lot of options on a lot of stuff, give them resources so that they don't have to reinvent the wheel or go buy a lot of stuff and I have to tell them, no, I'm sorry, that's not going to work.
No, I'm very pleased to hear that because, you know, like you take that initiative and authority to ensure that you are ensuring that these guinea pigs are being housed properly beforehand. Because like you said, you know, it's interesting how much the guinea pig community has evolved with like sizing requirements. And so, you know, that's amazing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You would not believe. I had somebody come to me one time. I was doing adoptions from a pet store because I will not support any place that sells guinea pigs. I was even in PetSmart at one point. And I used to do nail trims and health checks, and I have a line about 20 people lined up because nobody will do that kind of stuff. So, but, and he came in with his son. And usually when I'm there, I'm basically just trying to show this is, and I have them in a 2x4 grid CNC, a pair. So they see, yes, this is exactly, so they can see this is what you need to have, blah, 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 blah. And we do an application and stuff, but piggies do not walk out from there. So anyway, so he's talking and his son's going, oh yeah, I've had tons of hamsters and a lot of other stuff, you know, that kind of like glossing over numbers of having, first of all, if you have a lot of different animals, how long did you have them? So he was talking about that he already had a cage. So we had talked about doing an adoption and we were doing paperwork. And I said, so, and I actually had a CNC cage there that could go with it. That could go. But I mean, so, and I says, I have this right here. He says, well, I have a cage in the car that I recently purchased. I went, okay, let's go take a look at it. Oh, you know what it was. Pet store cage is what, 30 inches by 12 or 18 or something. And he had this conversation. He was trying to tell me that his vet recommended the minimal size. And I said, where did you get this information from, if I may ask? And he, you know, is for lab animals. So we had a conversation and I said, no, that's like you living in your bathroom instead of your whole house. Would you enjoy that? Would that be healthy for you? So that's what it's all about. So we want animals to thrive, not just survive.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And so I said, why don't you go ahead and take that back since it's in the box still.
Yeah.
because I hate when people spend a lot of money on that crap. It's like, oh God, I can make you a CNC cage for the cost of that little thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's why I offer that. And so he left, but never came back. Somehow you have to make people be responsible for their own crap. And I'm older now, so I can say that. Something happens when you're over 40. Okay. It's just, you kind of like, you get to a point where I am not desperate to adopt out guinea pigs. I have extensive specific experience with guinea pigs, medical, all of that. It's just sheer numbers is what
Yeah.
it is. That's just what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And I have experience because I grew up with all this as well. So I have a lot of animal behavior experience as well, just with everything. So I have a very practical sense of way of being. And so everything I do is within the nature of the animal. So that's kind of where I'm coming from most of the time. Most people in rescue only last about a year for two reasons. The first reason is when they decide to rescue, they don't take into account what the financial commitment is going to be.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, with the rescue, especially if you're doing, sorry, the light's a bit. But I was gonna say, especially if you don't have a facility, like having that many guinea pigs surely costs a lot financially and takes a toll in that sense. So people don't realize, like you said, the commitments not only to the guinea pigs, but ensuring they have like fresh vegetables every day. Like, even two guinea pigs, I'm like, oh, my wallet feels light when I go to the checkout counter. But, considering you have much more than the average person by far, it's definitely that, like you said, it's a financial aspect as well.
And that's something that when I started this, because I don't have a personal job, there were two things that had to always happen. The first thing is to make sure the rescue pays for itself.
Yeah.
As soon as you start having to fund it with your own personal money, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot sustain that. It will destroy your own finances. So that means that you need to offer services. To bring in money, you have to have ways, you have to be out there, you have to be taken in donations. There's all sorts of stuff that has to happen. The second thing is you need to have an extremely active adoption program.
Yeah.
It needs to be structured. It needs to be happening every week.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you become a hoarder. But I get calls and emails daily. So, just a word out there to people who want to start rescue. Yes, it sounds great. There are people who rescue and there is rescues. Those are two different entities. You really got to be careful and make sure to realize I have a couple advantages that also help. I found a vet who discounts, and he is learning so much from me because most of 90% of his KV knowledge about medical is coming from me because he has seen stuff he's never seen before. Finding a mass in a guinea pig that's only a year old. So we see a lot of that stuff. I personally, because of my experience, can treat the basic stuff. I can pretty much do health checks on the basics, and then anything that requires surgery, like abscesses or dental or something, goes to my vet, who discounts drastically. And sometimes he'll do free x-rays just to see what the heck it is for his own edification.
Wow.
So the thing is, when he retires, then I need to find another one. Mm-hmm. So he's been my vet for about 4 years. And so I have that advantage. So I do have a discounted. That helps. And he allows us to pay it. I do try to pay off the vet bill every month. So there's those expenses. Now we're neutering guinea pigs, which he does give us a discount. And we do 2 or 3 males at a time.
Yeah.
That's been, so I have those advantages. But that takes work and time to develop all that.
Yeah,
because
certainly.
vet care at a regular vet here in the States is outrageous for exotics.
No, I can imagine, and it's like you said, it's trying to find a proper vet as well that is knowledgeable, because, especially when vets are dogs, cats, and then small pets are like seldom to none. So it's, I can appreciate so difficult finding a good, knowledgeable person, and he's very lucky to have you, since you have all this experience too.
Well, the reason I have is because he's allowed that.
Hmm.
And he also trusts me. This cage right here, which is Boo and Sully, who are, one is a Texel, one is an Abby.
Oh,
Um,
lovely.
they are handsome boys, very handleable. They're on my adoption list. I did just put your liner in there. I just washed it yesterday.
Oh, brilliant.
The first time I used it with these guys, guess what? It got board glue, which is still there. Doesn't come off too easy. So no
Yeah.
big deal. It's part of the thing of having males. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's
fair
happening.
enough.
That are
Yeah.
not neutered. Most vets don't have experience with neutering small animals. But anyway, I've got your liner in here, and my first reaction was, "Oh my God, this is like a dog bed."
It
Lay
is
down on
so
this?
fluffy. Yeah.
Can I lay down now? Pros and cons. Pros is the top layer is very easy to work with. The white layer I'm not as happy with because it does catch the hay, and for me, I do not use hay racks or bags
Yeah,
because I am a naturalist in that way, and piggies naturally forage from the ground.
of
I do
course.
not have any problem with hay pokes in the eyes. So this is, and again,
Hmm.
people that use them, it's great, but for me personally, overall, it doesn't
Yeah.
work well for me.
I know what you mean with
So,
hay
I
bags.
mean,
Yeah, it's a preference.
there's a big difference between what works for a rescue with a large number of animals in a low amount of time versus someone who only has a few.
Yeah.
Definitely big difference. So I just want to quantify that's according to my situation. Anyway, the piggies seem to love it. They love the fluffiness. They love how comfortable it is. Like I say, I want to
Brilliant.
get in there and lay down because
Oh
it's
yes, we have the same issue.
when I pulled it out of the package, I'm like, oh my God, this is like a dog bed. So washing it is okay. It does get a little heavy.
Yeah, no, certainly. Yep.
I tend to go with thinner liners. I have gotten liners from Piggy Bedspreads, I've had fleece flippers. I've had almost every different kind of liner possible, guinea dads. I mean, I've had them all, and there are pros and cons to all of them.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they seem to like it well. Also, I mentioned about your grids, which I would like to get some so I can work with them. But the grids here in the United States are these nice little squares that are 1.5 inches. Now,
Yeah.
the only challenge with these that I have is when I have babies.
Yep. Yep.
Who can, newborn babies, they hop in and out of those like nothing. So I have to cover these totally when I have babies in there because they will
Yeah.
pop through them. So I like your style of grid, and I also think it's going to be easier to
Yeah.
use my Choco Nose water bottles
Oh
because
yeah.
these big holes here sometimes are difficult to get it to sit still, and if the piggy moves it or something, it can flip. So
Yep.
I'm thinking that will be a lot easier. So that's my pitch for that. I have not seen those like that, although people here in the States do use some shelving wire, which is more similar to that.
Yeah.
So if you can send me some of those grids so I can at least try to make a cage and really work it, that would be helpful for
I'll
me.
definitely speak to my team, and we'll see what we
Just to
can
see
do.
whether that's something versus I really don't need more liners. This liner I take with me usually to my adoption events because I have the piggies set up in smaller sectional CNC
Mhm.
cages for people to see. So that's a good, and I have been mentioning it, I have put it on Facebook, but anything you want to send me that's promotional flyer or anything that I can post, I would be more than happy to. Because
Great. Thank you.
we are looking at other alternatives for our adopters. I
Mhm.
do not make fleece liners at all. I'm not going to
Okay.
get into that
Yeah,
place.
it's a bit of a technique. I've tried myself
No.
making
I'm
them.
not going to go there. Why would I want to reinvent something that's already made
Yep. Yep.
and let you take care of that? I don't mind that. I
Yep.
don't mind that because people want to help us because we're a 501(c) nonprofit and they see the work that we're doing. And
Mhm.
obviously the rescue has to pay for itself. So they would love to buy them from me personally and have me
Certainly.
make profit. But
Yeah.
fine. I do little fleece cozies that are handmade by a friend of mine.
Oh,
We
lovely.
do not really buy and resell. So we don't get into that because that's taxable income. So we have to watch.
Of course, yeah.
So, but I do enjoy it. And so getting to know, and like I say, I have tried and worked with a lot of different fleece liners from all over, and there are pros and cons to each one.
Just like any type of bedding, even like
just like anything. Absolutely. So what I do is I try to offer people options.
Yeah.
And then allow them to decide what they want to do according. But I have to use something before I can.
Oh, of course. That's the only way to do it.
Especially since in my situation, stuff has to really take a lot of abuse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With guinea pigs for sure.
So the one thing that I can share on how people, if they want to help us, is send funds through PayPal, Second Chance KV Rescue at Gmail. PayPal is probably your most international way to do that. It's probably easier. It will also transfer any difference in dollars and whatever people use.
For currency.
International. So that is your easiest way. Okay, we are a 501(c)(3) organization. If you would like a tax receipt, I would be more than happy to send it. Just make sure you have address and you make a note of that. Yes, I would like one. Most people don't care, but people that it's important, fine. So that can be any amount that you wish to donate. 100% of it goes toward everything here.
Brilliant.
Vet bills, everything. This is how we can function. Okay, so finances is great. I think I do have a wish list on Chewy.
Okay.
So if you want to go on there and look, but I mean, Oxbow pellets, hay, quality stuff, vitamin C supplements.
Stuff you can't go wrong with.
We do use aspen bedding in our smaller cages. That is our smaller cage bedding versus fleece, because fleece is a nightmare in those small cages. That's probably the main thing is finances, is sending funds. If you want to send something, that's also great too. You can contact me. We have a Facebook page. We have a website, secondchancekv.com. We have a Facebook page that is extremely active all over the world. So that's a great way to contact us. And if you want to ask for specific needs, we can have people sponsor medical piggies. We have special needs piggies. So, I mean, whatever people want to do, we're open to it. If you send funds, then I can channel that to where it's really needed.
Brilliant. I'm glad there is so many places for people to reach out to. So that's brilliant.
Right. We are pretty much, people that are in Texas, Google Guinea Pig Rescue, they're going to find me.
Yeah.
That's all they have to do. I am there. So that's probably the best thing they can do. They can promote us.
Yep.
They can promote our website. They can promote our Facebook. I don't do a lot of Instagram. That's not my thing. I'm old school. I do have Zoom calls on KV Care 101 that I can, of course, send links to anywhere in the world.
Oh, brilliant.
If people want to be on there, I'm just starting to record and stuff because of COVID now. We're getting more into this technology.